Hello everybody, Sergeant Soldier here, and we're back with another Suggesting Rust, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting a whole lot for the first video. I knew I was gonna get some comments and some suggestions, but I was never expecting 165 comments and 72 upvotes. Like, the amount of comments on there by far surpasses, I believe, any other video I have on the channel to date. So thank you so much to everyone that listed their suggestions and participated in the comment section. Thank you. You guys are what's going to make not only that video, but the rest of the videos in this new series. You guys are going to make this work. So, thank you. Now, jumping straight into our first comment, we have Banani Apena. And I'm really sorry if I mispronounce any of these names. I am not good with names. Clan system to vanilla, and if you are a clan leader, you can add people from your clan to be able to open and use all the clan members' code locks and stuff like that. Now, the whole clan members code locks thing, that one, not so much. But we do need a clan system for vanilla. And I'm not saying to take the modded clan system that gives you invincibility from each other and friendly fire and seeing each other on the map and stuff like that. Vanilla doesn't need all that. There just needs to be something other than the clan clothing that you can visually tell each other apart. And I think the simplest way to do that would be clan tags, so that you could tell anybody. Like, let's say Sergeant Solj is in the YouTube clan, and you're in the Twitch clan. Having the tag above our name makes it easier to say who they're affiliated with, and whether or not I need to worry about you. But also, having clan members, their names that are above their heads in white, change that to a color like green, or something else that stands out, so that you know, okay, that guy, he's got a yellow name, don't shoot him. That guy, he's got a white name, shoot him. That guy over there, yellow name, he's our friend. You know, something so that you can easily see if someone's running at you. If their name pops up above their head, you'll be able to tell who they are from a distance, without having to do the jump checks and stuff like that. This one is from Belgor. Code locks in tool cupboards with animation opening and a list of authorized people. Now, the whole code locks and tool cupboards thing, that's going to play into a comment later on that I feel is really important. But I do think that having code locks on tool cupboards is a really good idea. Also, being able to list the authorized people, that is a really good idea, because that kind of plays twofold. One, yeah, Hurtworld did it, but just because Hurtworld did it doesn't mean it's a bad idea. They did it for a reason. They thought it was a good idea, and I think it's a good idea too. But having the code lock on there, that would actually help both defenders and the raiders. And let me explain this. Obviously it helps the defenders, because then the raiders can't access the tool cupboard and give build permission unless they break the tool cupboard and replace it. So that would mean that it would at least slow the raid down a minute or so they have to break the tool cupboard. But also at the same time, if you're a raider and you go through and you access someone's cupboard and then you keep moving through the base, if they have a sleeping bag on the first level and they come back behind you and clear authorization on that cupboard and then seal you up with a wall or something like that, you're basically screwed as a raider. At least at this point, if you have a tool cupboard with a code lock on it and you break the defender's tool cupboard and replace it with your own code lock, they'll have to break your cupboard then in order to screw your raid up. And if you hear them breaking a tool cupboard, as a raider, you might be able to stop that. Who knows? It'll be a lot easier than running around trying to clear tool cupboards and access them and then have them be cleared again behind you and whatnot. I think it's a really good idea. And as well as that, the whole code lock and tool cupboard thing will be in another comment later, and hopefully I remember the extra part that I'm thinking of right now. Next up, Haze Swarm. They should add a knockout system like from Ark. This would really be neat, since you could knock people out and steal their weapons, so you don't have to worry about them shooting you. Yes and no. Now, we kind of have a knockout system. We have the downing. The thing is, though, it's very impractical, and a lot of times you die within 30 seconds before the attacker could even get to you, or the person that gets downed will F1 kill themselves immediately. I think if we want to use this whole downing system, that we shouldn't be able to one-hit kill anyone unless it's a headshot. So if they get shot in the body a whole bunch of times, instead of just dying immediately, they should be downed, and they stay down until either A, they get picked up, or B, they get shot or stabbed or whatever, or blown up Or C, a longer wait time. You should not be able to F1 kill yourself when you're downed. That way, we have some sort of a knockout system to where if the person that shot you wants to pick you back up, they have the opportunity to do so, and you don't have to worry about getting insta-killed all the time. Now, obviously, I'm not saying we need to make this new timer 5 minutes long, but I don't know, make it a minute. Double the current time that it is, and also don't allow people to die 5 seconds after getting downed sometimes, or get back up 10 seconds after getting downed when the timer is 30 seconds. Either we get up or we don't get up. It's really confusing, and a lot of people don't really know what's going on when you get down and then you pop back up again, and then you get down and then you stay down, but they get popped back up again because they have full hunger. It's really confusing. I think it needs to be simplified, and the downing system needs to be turned into kind of a knockout system. And hopefully with that, it will get rid of some of those instant noob naked kills that people are all complaining about. Next, we have Adriano Rodriguez. Right-click on your inventory when on a container, chest, furnace, body miner, whatever. Sends the items to the container. So what he's saying is, if you're on your inventory and you're accessing, let's say, wood, you right-click the wood, that wood should go straight into the chest or the furnace or whatever the secondary inventory window is. People have been asking about this ever since right-clicking into your inventory was first implemented. They're wondering, why is it not both ways? Yes, I completely agree. Because sometimes it's easier just to right-click so that the wood stacks automatically with the wood in the furnace than it is to try to hunt around and try to find where it is. Now, the furnace inventory is small, but if you have a large chest with a bunch of random stuff and you're trying to consolidate things down and make it a little bit more space efficient, at least right-clicking would auto-stack with whatever's in there now, and then if there's any extra, either start a new stack or spit it out. So I think it's a really good suggestion. 8 people obviously agreed, and quite a few other people commented with the same suggestion. So I know it's one that the players want. Classy Dots. Make grenades actually worth something. I value a rock over the grenades currently, with how it takes forever to throw it, and even longer to actually go kaboom. Also, I saw on Reddit a suggestion to transform the bean can grenades into more of a distraction-like weapon. It would sound like a gun, or a decoy grenade, to confuse enemies in PvP and possibly lure them into some roamers. I think that's a really good idea. Grenades are highly underrated and almost useless, really. A lot of people don't even pick them up anymore because they don't really do much for you. By the time you throw the grenade, which isn't really throwing, it's more like a shot put, it doesn't throw very well in the game. It bounces so much that even if I wanted to throw the grenade to you, more than likely it would probably bounce about 10 feet past you. Or the amount of time it takes for the grenade to go off, by the time they see the grenade coming, they can get out of the blast range of it. So grenades, I agree, grenades need some work. I think turning the bean can into a decoy grenade is a really good idea. It works very well for first-person shooters like Call of Duty or whatnot. You take the decoy grenade, you throw it down, people hear the gunfire, and then they run into it, and then you just jump on them. I think it's a good idea. They should make it so that you break your legs when you fall too high like back in Legacy. Yeah, Ruan 3833, I actually agree. I think that should never have been taken out, because if you're going to go jumping down a mountain and you pop a couple syringes, you shouldn't be able to run away. You should have to pop a syringe and then hide because your legs are broken for 3 minutes. I don't know why they took that out. Probably because people were annoyed by it and they were complaining a lot, but I think that definitely needs to come back, because if you're getting chased around these rocks and you fall too far, you really need to break your leg. And at that point, what do you have left to do but to defend yourself? A lot of times these guys are running away and they fall down a hill, they survive, pop a syringe and a band-aid, and off they go. That's it. You'll never find them. Next, we have Funo1. I have just one important suggestion for the developers, Gary, of Rust. Stop destroying the creative aspect of the game. Now, the couple things that he listed, like the globe base, the Death Star, yeah, I'm glad that's gone, because that building on top of monuments is stupid. But half blocks and stuff like that, they really have destroyed the creative aspect of the game. The developers really have. And I understand the building system's kind of in the motion of being changed and growing and expanding in the future, but it's really hurting the creativity now. And I hope that in the future, that once we get more creative with the game, we'll be able to do things like the downward facing roof that they took away from us, that they really shouldn't have taken away from us. I hope we'll be able to do that kind of stuff again, because between that, the half blocks, being able to stack and layer different things through exploits. Some of that stuff, though very minor, made it so that you could be very creative with the game, and it kind of takes away a lot of the creativity when you take these things away from us. For the exploits, yeah, okay, I can see that one, but the downward facing roof, I really don't see why that was taken away. Because of roof rating, then just change the depth, I guess, the reach of the roof, so that you can't reach 6 stories up and put a roof down. Simple fix, but instead they just got rid of it entirely. Relic 7. Some of these I've seen in suggestions, others I haven't. If I repeat something you've already seen, sorry. No big deal. First thing this game needs is a queue system. Absolutely. Spamming the connect button over and over and over again, that was something that was fixed years and years and years and years ago with World of Warcraft and other games like that. We need a queue. Just one click, you are number 45 in line. Oh, I'm 45. I don't have to keep clicking queue. I know it's going to be probably a couple more minutes. Let me go take a piss. I'm going to go get something to drink. The game's going to connect on its own anyway. I should be good. A backpack by Dode Punker, so you can carry more stuff with a minus 10% speed for an extra 10 to 20 spots of space. I actually agree. I think it's a good idea, because we do need a backpack. It's a very common thing in most games that are survival, having extra inventory spots. 10 to 20, maybe not. Maybe an extra 6. It's a small backpack. You know, you don't get very many spots. That way, we can keep our same rows that we have for inventory, and those extra 6 can just appear in a lower box. Not too big of a deal, right? But with that, though, you know, if you die and you lose the backpack, your backpack should be a lootable object, that all the stuff in the backpack gets looted as well. I think that's going to be something that would probably benefit people that are using backpacks. So that if, let's say, you kill someone and they have a backpack on and you don't have one at all, you just got free 6 inventory slots. Alright, good job. You know? Inch-long nips, which is a very funny name. Backpacks, but you have to place them on the ground to open them, and you can't use them in building block areas. Leaves gear vulnerable, but less annoying. I think that's a good idea. I really do. I think it would be very interesting to see, okay, I've got this much stuff in a raid, but I'm building blocked. I can't put the backpack down. I have to now run out, put stuff in my backpack from my inventory, put the backpack back on, run back into the base, at which point the defenders might log back in. I think that if you put a backpack into the game, this might be a good way to balance its use, but that's you guys, the developers. And while on the topic of inventory management, I actually asked Kuda87 on one of his streams what one suggestion he would have to either add, change, or remove something from the game. And he had said that he would like to see default stack sizes changed. Now, this of course includes charcoal, which currently sits at 500 while everything else is at 1,000. But everything else he felt should be raised as well. More than 1,000 wood, more than 1,000 stone, etc, etc, etc. Also, I believe more importantly, is the syringes and the bandages. He had suggested making a little leather case that you could put your syringes and bandages in that has to be crafted with leather to actually give you more of a use for leather. And this would actually free up a lot of inventory space, because currently you need to carry 6 individual syringes, 10 individual bandages around with you. That eats up a lot of space, and you actually end up throwing that stuff out when you're going to raid and you need to bring something home. If you could take this little pouch that, let's say, costs 100 leather, and you could put 3 bandages in it, which technically the bandage icon shows 3 bandages in there anyway, this would not only save a lot of inventory space, but it would also give us more of a use for leather, which currently we really don't have yet. Same code lock system where people can authorize on them, but being able to change the code so you can have fresh spawns join you without worrying about them stealing your base. I believe this was a comment to someone else's post about the tool cupboards, and this was the one that I was talking about before about having something extra. Having a code lock on your tool cupboard and being able to bring new players in without worrying about you losing your entire base. I think that your code lock that's on your tool cupboard should have one of 2 functions. One, yeah, the code lock should be locked. It should have a locking function. 2, that code lock on the tool cupboard should have a master code on it, so that even if someone changes the code to your base, if you know the master code, you can get into any door regardless. So I think a lot of people have probably suggested this in the past. I know I've seen it on Reddit before, but I think if you're going to put code locks on the cupboards, you need to make it so that if I bring someone new into my base and they screw me over, I don't lose my base too. James Revel, upgradable weapons, or modular weapons. For example, using the repair bench to either A, increase the fire rate, increase the damage, or reduce recoil for the AK-47. I really hope the game gets to this point. I believe they've designed the AK so that you can have modular parts on it. You could take old parts out and put new parts in. I vaguely remember reading that, so I hope we get there at some point. But if we don't, we really need to. Or maybe have a straight pull upgrade for the bolt action so you don't have to release mouse 2, load in a new round, and then continue shooting. Yeah, that's pretty annoying. It really is. Especially if you're in a sniper battle with someone and you have to take your eyes off of them to reload the bolt. We're getting to the end here, I swear. Bitterball Gamer Key. No rain in the buildings and no light inside so that we have to use lamps. So basically what you're saying is you want the insides of buildings to be tombs that are pitch black, but you also don't want the rain to come in. That being said, if no light inside because it's pitch black, that means that no light should go outside the base as well. So, yeah, I agree. And eventually when we start getting electricity in, I would actually prefer the light to stay in the base instead of going outside the base. And yes, sheet external wall and armored external wall, more building options to be more creative. Yeah, I agree. Green Guitar 28. I am a sign artist and I would love to be able to pick up my paintings that are completed in my own base and trade or give them to other players to use in their base. I think that would actually be a really good idea, not only just for more sign usage and for people to use signs and to keep everything from being just flat stone walls around their base, but it also might introduce a little bit more of an economy aspect to the game. Right now everyone's just trading resources, or guns, or armor. If there's a painting that say, okay, I open a paint shop instead of a trading shop, I'm selling these paintings here, and I will hand draw them, and I'll give them to you for 5,000 wood. That would bring another interesting aspect to the game other than just trading resources. So I think that's definitely something that really should be thought about. Being able to take a painting, maybe not a sign, but a painting down off of a wall, and being able to trade it somebody. Because as of right now, all these paintings and these different signs and everything, I'm not gonna lie, they're pretty much useless. Like, we use the signs to label our chests and stuff like that, but why would we need to put an ornate sign outside of our base? Especially if you can't draw with your mouse to begin with, you know? So, being able to take them down and trade them for people that don't know how to draw or can't draw, I think that would change a lot and give some people a higher quality of life in the game. Lego Craft again! They should add the old wooden barricades from Legacy. I love those. Please, 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 please do this. I say this one all the time. If you're complaining about having the high external walls in PvP fights, we need to replace it with something. We had something in the game. They took it away. Please bring it back. Proteus! Armor-piercing rounds, which take high-quality metal and extra gunpowder to make, can penetrate twig, wood, sheet metal, and structures, perhaps some parts of certain monuments, and of course, would pierce armor. For a downside, it would increase muzzle flare and recoil by about 15%. That is actually very balanced, and a very good idea. I think so. Diseases, which take effect after either eating raw meat and human meat or being in poor conditions while bleeding. This would include reduced max health, more sway, darkened vision, or a slow, painful death. Can be treated with a surplus of bandages or a medical kit. We do need something for the green kits. As of right now, the only thing the green kit does is apply bleeding stop and a good amount of health. Maybe if we have some kind of a disease or some kind of an effect that you get, they could actually be useful for something else on top of that. I agree. More chickens and bring back the zombies. I'll pass on the chickens. Those things sound like little demons. But I do want the zombies to come back. The reason the zombies were taken out from what I remember is they didn't want Rust to be a DayZ clone. Well, DayZ is just about dead now. So really, you guys can bring the zombies back and not have to worry about that. H1Z1 is pretty close to being dead. So really, if you guys bring the zombies back, you're pretty much going to be the only one of a game of this type that has them. There might be other small ones, but you know, Rust is king, right? Last but not least, Emily Henderson. I would like to see a solution to the accidental thrown tool problem. I could suggest a bunch of ways this could be fixed, but here are just a couple of the ones I think would work best. And I only took the first one because it was a really, really long post, and I actually like this one the most. Define a specific keybinding to throw items that can be set by the player. I know it's just set to attack 2 keybind at the moment, but there are a ton of non-throwable items like the bow and hammer that would be best to keep assigned to attack 2, default the mouse button. However, having items be thrown using the same click action as what it is used all the time by non-throwable items just makes this problem so common. I agree. I really do. I think that there needs to be some other key binding for throwing weapons. And the reason that it's set that way is because of spears, I think. Spear was the original thrown weapon, and it was right click. And then they started adding everything else, and then they added the tools, which I don't think should be throwable. The hatchet and the pickaxe, because those aren't really something that you should be throwing away. But I do agree, there needs to be some kind of a tweak to thrown weapons that isn't player side or client side. It needs to be the game itself saying, okay, we're going to set this to this button now, because there's a lot of buttons that aren't in use with the game currently. So I think it's a good suggestion. So that's it for this video. It is a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Hopefully I can cut it down to something a little bit more reasonable. Otherwise, we're probably going to have to make these a lot shorter, and I'm going to have to be a little bit more selective in the suggestions. Because, as I said before, there's 165 comments, and we probably have a good 20 or so suggestions in this video. So definitely way too long. But hopefully for those of you that made suggestions that made it into video, you guys are happy that you made it in, and hopefully Facepunch or the developers or Gary will look at this and say, this is what people want, maybe we should do something about it. Who knows? So, Sergeant Solge, Suggesting Rust, Episode 2, and we'll see you in the next Suggesting Rust video. Bye-bye!